Hi, Mario.
Hello. Oh, Mr. Lunch. How are you feeling?
Baruch Hashem, a lot better. A lot
Good.
better. Thank God. Thank God. How about yourself? Everything good?
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Good. Yep.
We're on Tes Amud Aleph.
Mhm.
9. New Perek Sheni. Let's gather a quorum. Because I signed on early today. They're probably used to me signing on a few minutes late.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's not good.
No, you're not a yeke in that respect.
We had a
So
very
what
very
were you?
good Sorba Rabbanon Shir last night
Yeah.
about Uvalat Sion and Aleinu. Very, very, very good Shir. A lot of good information there.
Ernie, what were you mentioning yesterday about Sydney and Harold's trip?
Well, there was a big storm in Auckland, New Zealand.
Yeah.
So they traveled there.
Oh.
Hello.
Hi, Walter. Tes Amud Aleph.
Everybody's early.
9. Tomorrow, Mirza Hashem will learn the daf at 7:30. And then we'll have Tzvika Shir at 8 o'clock. Here's Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Trying. Ken, you're with us?
Very good Sur Bashir last night.
Yeah.
The Uvalat Sion and the Aleinu is very, very interesting and enlightening.
Right, this stuff discusses what I asked you yesterday.
Exactly. And in
Yeah.
fact,
Yeah.
I was thinking about you today,
Yeah,
and we're going to learn Beferish the Rambam.
right. And basically, I don't know if you know, but by in Brisk they learned the basically Nazir in Kochim, not in they held it was from Kochim.
Yes, they were brisk. They had a Seder in Kochim. Yosha Bear has a beautiful Sefer on the Dorim.
Right.
Iyunim in the Dorim. Okay.
Okay.
Hareni Nazir, min agroigrois umin advela. Now, a Nazir is not allowed to eat grapes. He's allowed to eat figs. But what does he mean, Hareni Nazir, min agroigrois umin advela? Figs, dried figs. So, Beishamai Oimrim, well, he said Hareni Nazir. So we take him at his first words, Nazir. The fact that he added min agroigroi, we don't take that into consideration. Since abstaining from figs are not part of Nezirus. So it's as if he said nothing. Beis Hillel remain on Nazir. Beis Hillel says no, he's not Nazir. Because he wasn't Makabel, regular Nezirus. There's no Nezirus at all because there's no Nezirus by Groi Gris and Dveil. Amrav Yehuda Av Kishamu Beis Shammai Amru Ela Ba'omer Harei Heina like Korban. Rav Yehuda explains Beis Shammai's Shita that the nether is Chal but it's not a regular Nazirus. It's just he has to abstain from figs. By saying Areni Nazir and Agroi Vela, he takes it's like koinam groigros and vela. It's like when we learned in the dorm when a person takes
Better.
a neder not to eat figs. That's basically how Rabbi Yehuda understands Beis Shammai. But he holds that Beis Shammai also agrees that it's not mamish a Nazirus neder. Now, he's arguing with the Tanakama, Rabbi Yehuda. So the Gemara says, "Areni nazir v'nat grogos v'nat vela." Beis Shammai omrim nazir. Ramai. The pasuk says, "Mikol asher yasem migefen hayayin lo yochal am rachmano." So Nazirus is just abstaining from wine. So Beis Shammai savri la Rav Meir. Shomer ein adam moitzi dvar levatol. Person just doesn't speak wasted words. If he said something, and you can't be makayim it exactly the way he said it, he was miskaving to say something mamish. So he said already nazir, that's a mamish dik of vort, and he was miskaving for nazir's mamish, even though he said b'nat groigos b'nat veil. That's this first approach. And Beis Hillel savri la Rav Yosi, she'omar bigmar dvarav adam nitfas, that Rameir holds a person is nitfas with the first things he says. So he says, already nazir. And Rav Yossi says, no, we listen to what he says at the end. If a person says things sequentially, let's say it says, Tmura oila, Tmura shlomit. We go off what he said at the end. And also, and therefore, both Nidor Marchal. So therefore, Rabbi Yossi accepts the first thing that a person says and the last thing. Hai neder upischo imohu. This, when he said Areni Nazir min agroigros min advela, it was a neder, but then he was matir his neder. He said Areni Nazir, but that which he said, oh, I only want to stay away from figs, he was mavatel his Nazirus neder in the same sentence. So the Gemara says, Ubei Shammai nami neder pischo imohu. So why would Beis Shammai say Hareni Nazir? Beis Shammai should agree that this is also a neder upischo imo. So the reason why he doesn't, Ela Beis Shammai savri like Rav Meir Shomer inada moitzi dvar levatol. A person doesn't waste words. The kiven Shomer Hareni Nazir, Havalei Nazir. In ki kamar min agroigos nadvela. Yes, by saying I want to avoid figs, it's leitzulei hudikoas. Yes, he was asking on it. He was having regret, but Beis Shammai doesn't accept it. The regret because Beis Shammai l'tamayu damri ein she'ela behegdish. That if a person takes an animal and says arezu shlomim, according to Beis Shammai, you can't go to a chacham and matir that neder because there's no hatoras nedorim by hegdish. The kavan shein shela behegdish shein shela gab Nazirus. So, and Beis Shammai holds that Nazirus nedorim follow hegdish nedorim. So, since you can't be matir hegdish nedorim, you can't be matir Nazirus nedorim. But Beis Hillel Savri, Rav Shimon Disnan, when a person was noider mincha, now most minchas come from wheat, donative minchas. So Rav Shimon Poiter, if a person says already mincha min asoirim, Rav Shimon says, Shelo yisnadev, yedercha misnadvim. He didn't make a standard neder. So it's as if he didn't say anything. So, and Beis Hillel argues with Beis Shammai that you're allowed to be matir in Nezirus Neder. Let's see what the Shulchan Aruch and the Rambam say.
Why can't we say that you want to become a Nazir? He thought maybe he didn't know that it's only limited to Yayin. Maybe he thought also that there was Grogros, and maybe he thought that's what that Nazir was, to restrict himself from. Why do we assume that he knows halacha? He knows that it's a restrictive of something. He thought maybe Grogos is also. That's why he said, "Are we Nazir? Are we restrict myself from Grogos?" I mean, the many other cases we say, we assume what he might say. So, if that's what his intentions were, was to be a Nazir from Grogos, because he thought Grogos was something that's restrictive.
Apparently, the laws of Nazirus were very well known. Everybody knew Nazirus. It's like it's knowing Shabbos. Because by the Gemara is saying that it's like Neder upischo imohu. They assume that even Beis Shammai held like that. That by saying already Nazir, when you made the statement Minagrogos Vela, that's the Pesach. Because everybody knows that the Nazir only refrains from wine and nothing else. So it's not like you made a mistake. You can't make a mistake by that because it's something that was widely known. So the halach is ein halacha Beis Shammai. Ela kashem shenish alim al nidrei iser. Just like if a person says, I prohibit me from eating this loaf of bread. You can go to a chacham and matter such a neder. Kach nishalim al nidrei hahegdesh umatir noitzom. So can you, if you donate something, say arezu chatas, arezu shlomim. The din is you can go to a chacham and matir. Mitzvah l'kaima. Lo yishal alem el machmas doiche. You should only ask if if you have no other way. Misha Nodar, this is a Rambam, Hilchos Nezirus. Misha Nodar ben Nazir, benichem al nidro. He regretted his net. Arez inisha lechacham umatilo nezirosu kadesh matir mishar nedorim. So it goes through like we learned yesterday. Walter asked. We jumped the gun a little bit, but that's the halacha. You can be matir nezirus nedorim. Like you can be matir other nidor. Okay, test on the base.
Beis Shammai wouldn't agree with
We don't paskin like Beis Shammai.
that. I understand.
but
It's another sheet.
Beis Shammai held that you could not go to a chacham to undo your nazirus neder. Absolutely,
because it's considered like
hegdesh. And he held that you couldn't undo those. We hold like Beis Hillel that you can undo a hegdesh neder.
Oh, so because it frees them from the korbanos. That's what it is. So we freeze them to
Or
korbanos.
if you donate something to hegdesh, you say masnisim de loke haitana. The Gemara is going to prove that our Mishnah is not like the following Tana, the Tanya. Rav Nasan Oimer, Beis Shammai Oimrim, Nadir v'Nazir. It's interesting because it's not like our Mishnah. He holds that Beis Shammai held that he was a Nazir, a regular Nazir, and he's prohibited from eating figs. He took on both, which is similar to what Elazar wanted to say. That when he said, Hareni Nazir B'Nagrogos B'Nadvela, he's our standard Nazir. He can't drink wine or grapes, and he cannot eat figs. That's Rav Nosson learns. Beis Hillel Omrim Nadir ve'ein Nazir. And Beis Hillel agrees that by saying Hareni Nazir B'Nagrogos B'Nadvela, he meant to restrict himself and not eat figs, but he does not become a Nazir. So obviously, Rav Nosson is not our Mishnah. Our Mishnah didn't paskin like that. So the Gemara is just pointing out that they have another baraisa, the name of Rav Nosson, which has a different shita in terms of how Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel held regarding when he made the statement, "Areni Nazir min advelim min agrogos." Now what? Says Rav Nosson. Beis Shammai Savri Lak Rav Meir Rav Yehuda. He holds like Rav Meir that a person doesn't waste his words. Since he said already Nazir, there's a chalois. And like Rav Yehuda in the end of our Mishnah, then since he mentioned Groigris and Veli, he meant to Aser, like a neder. So that's why Beis Shammai says Nadir v'Nazir. Beis Hillel Savri Lak Rabbi Yossi. It's only Bigmar Dvarav that a person is nitfas. And therefore we only mention the last things, which was Groigris. And we reject what he said beginning. Lishna Achrina Amrilah. There's a different lashon of how this price works. That Rav Nosson Beis Shammai Amrim Nadir Veinu Nazir. That even Beis Shammai agrees he's not a Nazir, but he is restricted from figs. Ubeis Hillel Loy Nadir v'Loy Nazir. He's nothing, not a Nazir, and he's not restricted from figs. Beis Shammai Rabbi Yehuda, which was that he took upon himself the prohibition of figs. Ubeis Hillel Rabbi Shimon, where Rabbi Shimon, where we said if you are noider shaloi kedercha misnadvin, if you didn't use the standard lashon of how to make the neder, then you didn't say anything. Tanan also. We learn a Mishnah. So a person could donate a donative mincha. Mincha was with flour and oil. Now, normally it was wheat flour. There's only one mincha that was brought from barley. That's the mincha sa'omer, which is not a private donative offering. So if a person says, I want to bring a mincha from barley, so again, we do Tafas Lashon Rishon, what he says at the end. So it's in an analogous case, like sending Hareni Nazir ben Agroigos ben Advelu. Mincha ben Asorim doesn't make any sense. So you bring a mincha, but you bring it from wheat. We're going to see in a minute. Reb Shimon will argue with this, or Reb Shimon probably will argue because you're not misnadev kedercha misnadev. But keep that on our back burner. If a person says Arei mincha min hakemach, kemach is flour but not fine flour, and menachos had to be brought from soilus. So the din is yavi soilus. If he says, I'm going to bring a mincha shelo b'shemen and levona, not with the oil, not with the spice. Well, donative minchas were not brought that way. You brought them with the oil and with the spice. So therefore, yiviena b'shemen and levona. Now, the minimum shear of the amount of flour is in Yisara. If you said chatzi Yisara, and you have Yisara and shalim. If you said Yisara numechza, you have Yishnayim. There's no 1.5. You have to bring 2. And here comes what we were waiting for. Reb Shimon Poiter. Shelo isnadev kedercha misnadvin. This is not the normal phraseology, so therefore we reject the whole thing. Now, man tana dechi amar reale mincha ben asur mevi menachitin. Who is the tana who says when person says, I'm going to bring a mincha from barley, he brings it from wheat? Amar Chizkiya b'machlokos shnuya. This is the machlokas Beis Shammai Beis Hillel Beis Shammai, like our Mishnah. Lava mi Beis Shammai ki omer min agrogos min advela havi nazir. Just like if a person's already nazir min agrogos min advela. We ignored what he said at the end. Person doesn't waste his words. He said already nazir, so becomes a nazir also. Ki omer min asa'orim, maybe min achitim. There is no donative offering to be brought from barley, so he brings it from wheat. So the way Chizkiya learns, the Tana of the Mishnah we just quoted is only Beis Shammai. Even Beis Hillel could be the author of the Mishnah we just quoted. Why? Because if I would have known that you don't make such a neder, but you would have you have to make it with, I would have done it. But in that case, even it could have been, Beis Hillel would also agree. Amar Chizkiah. Lo yishanu. When do we say you have to bring a mincha from wheat? When he said, because gentlemen, the bottom line is, there is a korban from barley that exists. It's a statement which could be true, not by an individual, because an individual doesn't bring a mincha from so'im, but the tzibur brings the mincha sa'omer from so'im. The way to remember that is the mincha sa'omer was brought on the second day of Pesach. And it's the first day that we count the oimer. We count the 49 days. B'yom HaChamishim is Shvuas. On Shvuas, we brought a mincha chadasha, which was the Shtei Alechem. That was a mincha made out of wheat. And Chazal teach us barley is animal food. So when we start the oimer, right, we're very low, right? If you look at every day of the oimer, first day is Malchus Shebechesed. The second day is Chesed Shebechesed, right? It's the meat. You're supposed to refine your midos. It's not just about counting the oimer. It's about changing yourself, going from an animal to a human being. So we start off Mincha Sa'omer eating animal food, which is barley. And we end up Shvuas, when we receive the Torah, we're a human being and we can eat real bread made out of wheat. Just a way to remember that the Mincha Sa'omer is Minas Sa'orim. So then Chizkiah says, that's when the Tana holds that the person could bring a mincha min achitim. Aval omer min ha'adoshim. If the person arei mincha min ha'adoshim, I'm going to bring a mincha from lentil beans. Lo ma'isi v'lo klum. So he doesn't bring any mincha. There's no such thing as a mincha brought from lentil beans. Michte chizki keman mokim l'lanas nisim. The Gemara doesn't understand. We just went through an analysis, and Chizkiah said that the Tan of that Mishnah was Beis Shammai, because he ignored the statement Groi Grois and the Dvela and focused on the Hareini Nazir. He said he's a Nazir. Well, V'ha'adoshim l'gabi mincha ki Groi Grois l'gabi Nazir dam. I mean, lentils are to a mincha like figs are to a Nazir. Prohibition of eating figs has nothing to do with Naziris. So same way that lentils have nothing to do with a mincha. Yet the Kamri Beis Shammai Avi Nazir. Yet Beis Shammai said he isn't Nazir. So the Gemara says, Hoder Bei Chizkiah. Chizkiah changed his mind. It's a good kasha, so Chizkiah changed his mind. Right? The Gemara V'mai Hoder Bei. Why did he change his mind? Amar Rava Masnisin K'shisei. Because the Mishnah was problematic. My iri the Tani Minasa Oirim. Why did the Mishnah say, Harei alai mincha lavi Minasa Oirim? Let it say, listening Minadoshim, which would have been a bigger chiddush. Elasor Chizkiah ki Omer Beis Shammai Osam, when Beis Shammai said over there by a Nazir, right? Already Nazir min advela min agroigros, he held like Rabbi Yehuda. That there's no Nazirus net there. He's only taking neder from eating figs. Because people do make such a neder. But they would also agree that by mincha min adoshim, it's lo amar klum. But Rav Yochanan feel min adoshim. But that even when he says mincha min adoshim, he would bring mincha min achit, according to Beis Shammai. Rabbi Yochanan, you were the one who said that the only way it works if he would have realized, I now know that you don't make a neder that way. I would have made it this way. So really, Rav Yochanan is speaking to Chizkiah, the dvar of the Chizkiah to come. You Chizkiah. My time at Kahadat Bach, Mishum Loktani Min Adoshim, because the Mishnah said, Hareni Nozir Min Asoyim, not Min Adoshim. Maybe Dilma Loma Boy Comer. Maybe it's in a structure of not only this, but this also. Meaning, Loma Boy Kiomer Me Adoshim. Don't tell me that when he says Hareni Nozir Min Adoshim, that he brings a real mincha. By saying Min Adoshim, he's changing his mind to Tofas Lashon Rishon, but he holds you just listen to what he said initially, which he says a regular mincha, and a regular mincha is with wheat. And like Kiyomer Min Asoirim, Vade Dachi Ka'amar. But if he said Hareni Nozir Min Asoirim, certainly he would be able to bring it. Because because a sota woman brings a barley mincha because she committed an animal act, or the mincha soimer tikdosh, ilo lo. Kamash malon, the maisi menachitin. You don't bring from barley. The chiddush is you bring it from wheat. And he didn't really have to go back on what he said. Okay, tomorrow 7:30.
Yeah.
Tomorrow 7:30. We're getting this Shabbos. There's all sorts of things happening at Young Israel, so we won't learn in person. But we're going to start learning in person on Shabbos. We're getting close to where the time is such.
Great.
But not this Shabbos. There's all sorts of guest speakers, Rabbi Leff, and so it doesn't work this because even Rabbi Krause is not giving his daf. But in the next couple of weeks, we'll start looking at the time. And
then the week after that, you have a big guests from Keren B'Yavne coming. It's big Shabbatot. So
where?
At Young Israel and at Yavne.
Oh, okay. So we'll do it the next few weeks when it starts working out. And tomorrow we'll do it at 7:30.
Okay, guys. Laila Tov.
Yeshua Laila Tov.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Israel.